To replace this culvert, Caltrans would have to reduce the travel length from 4 lanes to 2 lanes during the entire length of the project, and that would cause significant congestion throughout our downtown. They're anticipating to break ground in 2021. We have formed a task force from all the departments in the city, including all safety departments, to work with Caltrans staff to see what we can do to mitigate the impacts while this project goes to in construction. It will be significant impacts, but we're going to do everything that we can in our power to make sure the impacts are minimized. With that, I want to turn it back to our mayor to talk about some of our cultural arts programming and to wrap up our presentation. Thank you again for the opportunity for me to speak to you tonight.
Thank you, Sheree. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, John, for the presentations. You can see a final slide here, our cultural arts programming. As I mentioned earlier, our Arts Commission and Cultural Arts Director Sean Poschel have done a great job trying to lift spirits here a little bit during the pandemic with an ongoing series of temporary art programs. And we had a great contribution by former council member Wayne Peterson, who's now passed away, from the his estate through the Laguna Beach Community Foundation, that's funding a number of local artists to undertake some creative art and installations. Big point though on the last one is, we're working with the festivals to prepare for next summer. We've got our Festival of the Arts Pageant of the Masters, we've got Art Affair, and we've got Sawdust. Sawdust is, as I mentioned, opening here this fall on weekends, but it's our sincere hope we can get back to a full, safe reopening by next summer for all of the art festivals, which is a signature of our community here in Laguna Beach, and we value our relationship with them greatly. So I think with that, we are concluded on our presentation. We obviously look forward to working with all of you in 2021 on what you've seen on the screen here, and undoubtedly on new things that will come up that none of us anticipate. I believe I'm going to turn this back over to Paula, and I think we might have a short Q&A period.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor Whalen, John, Sheree, Mark, great presentation. We just have 3 questions that came in. One is, many of the news articles and social media posts claim that the proposed parking structure will be paid for by us, the residents. Can you clarify how, if passed, it would be funded?
Thank you, Paula. I'm gonna take that question. And the parking structure is proposed to be funded completely from the parking fund. And all the parking fund revenue comes from the parking meters and the pay stations in the parking lots and parking structures. So there is no direct payment from any residents to that fund. The residents mostly use the shopper's permit, and the revenue that we collect from the parking meters and the pay station would pay for the parking structure. Our revenue projections for the new parking structure show that after the first few years, the parking structure will actually pay for itself, and it will continue to even generate additional revenue for the parking fund.
Thank you, Sheree. 2 more questions. These are softballs. What is the status of the trolley system? Anybody?
Yeah, Paul, I get that one. So
Okay.
There's an obvious question as to when the city is going to return to providing trolley services. And it's a difficult question in this environment. So we are going to be discussing this with the City Council on January 12th. And the answer will largely depend on the situation at the time. So we're all still wondering exactly when a vaccine is going to be found, what the infection rates are going to be through the winter. What tier is Orange County going to be in? Are we going to be advancing through the tiers to the yellow tier, or we have more flexibility to open up because we're doing better and infections are under control? Also, when we do open, it would have to be at a dramatically reduced capacity to allow physical distancing to occur. So we need to consider when it even makes sense to have probably only 10 people on a trolley that could normally accommodate 30 people at a time. Some of the other things we're looking at is December, January, and February are typically our lowest ridership months. We're also going out with a request for proposals to look for an operator that can provide drivers, because many of our drivers have been furloughed and found other jobs as we've been working through the pandemic. When we bring them back, they have to be tested, they have to be trained, they have to get familiar with our equipment, our routes, and those type of things. We already have acquired many of the personal protective equipment devices we would need to open the trolleys, but it would take 6 to 8 weeks of advanced planning to get the drivers in place, get the trolleys ready to go. So realistically, I think we're probably looking at the earliest the trolleys would return would be probably around March or April, but that will ultimately be a city council decision based on the circumstances at the time. And while we want to bring them back quickly to help the community, we don't want to bring them back too soon in any way that would increase the transmission rate of COVID. And remember, we have multiple trolley services. So we'll have the coastal route that runs typically on weekends throughout the year. We have the summer festival routes, and if the festivals are back next summer, it is my sincere hope that we will be running the trolleys at that time. We have the summer breeze, which picks people up out by the 133 and the 405. And then we potentially have the neighborhood trolley services. So all those will be considerations. At this time, we can't say exactly when we're going to be able to bring the trolleys back, but we will be prepared to do so as soon as it seems safe enough to do that for the community and our visitors, and the city council approves it. So that's the best answer we have at this time, Paula.
Okay. Last, will there be a hospitality night?
Well, that's $1 million question, right? So Paula and I have been meeting and working with our recreation division and staffing on some creative ways to still celebrate the holidays, but not to have large crowds in the downtown. As you all know, hospitality night is usually it's the first Friday in December and brings significant number of people to the downtown. So next Tuesday, we are going to present an item to City Council to propose a change due to the COVID pandemic. What we are proposing is to basically decorate the promenade with the theme of holidays at the promenade, to provide a holiday festive area where people can come at their own time, at their own leisure to enjoy. We're going to have a Christmas tree set up at the promenade. We are going to have the surfboard menorah at the promenade. People can come to the promenade and bring an ornament to decorate the tree. They can write a letter to Santa Claus. We hope to have some virtual visits with the Santa on a couple of weekends. And we hope to do a similar program like we've been doing with the band on the bus, where we have a trolley going through the neighborhood with Santa. We are hoping that we can do something similar like that to actually take Santa throughout the neighborhoods instead of having people to come and visit Santa at the Santa Village. So that's just a little bit of the flavors of the things, and more to come. That we should have a full report next Tuesday on our proposal. We still want to celebrate the holidays, but we want to do it safely.
And understood completely. So I have some last minute business to discuss. First, I'd like to remind everyone that the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce, along with KXFM, will be hosting our candidate forum on Friday, October 9th. If you would like to submit questions, you may do so at questions@lagunabeachchamber.org. And lastly, we have a drawing. Our grand prize will be a 2-night stay at the ranch, including lunch for 2 at the Lost Pier Cafe and golf. So I'm going to make that one first. Mary Ann Tracy. We have 2 additional gifts. The next winner can choose either a $300 gift certificate for Eco Tint located in the Canyon, or a wine sampling for 12 courtesy of PRP Wine International. So that this person will be able to choose Barb McGilvery. And then the third person, the next person will be able to have the one that Barb didn't choose, and that is Cody Engel. Those are our 3 drawings. So I miss seeing you all in person. Really, I miss seeing anybody in person. So thank you all for your virtual attendance. I think this was a great way to share what's happening with the chamber and with the city. So thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
Good night.
AJ.
Good night.
Thank you, Paula. Good night.